All right. All right. So welcome everybody, and thank you for spending a little bit of your, oops, my slides are going crazy. Sorry about the barking. Hold on 1 second.
I was worried about my dog.
All right. All is well. They couldn't hear me, but I'm sure they saw my face. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So thank you for spending a little bit of your Saturday morning with us. We're really excited to introduce you guys to Mind Immersion, which is our newest workshop series that's launching at the end of October. And we're really, really excited about it because it combines all of the elements of all of our other classes and really focuses on mind, body, spirit alignment. And so we're really excited. So first off, I think I know everybody. I'm not sure if Jen knows everybody yet, but I'm Katie, founder of the Collective Co. And this is Jen.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Should I give a little bit about myself?
Sure. Say a few words.
So I started like my self-care journey about like 5 years ago. And after I kind of started, I became a yoga teacher and did that 6 months training and then joined the collective here. It's been about a year now. So I'm excited to just help guide people and teach some yoga and some self-care.
Awesome. And so we're going to start today by just talking about kind of the trendy catchphrase, waking up. So a lot of people, especially in today's climate, are referencing that phrase, like wake up, what it means to wake up. So we wanted to kind of throw that back at you guys today and see for you what it means to wake up or to have a spiritual awakening, and ask you if any of you feel like you've had one already or know kind of where you're at in that journey if you're in it. So feel free to unmute yourselves and kind of share with us what it means to wake up for you. Valerie?
I'll go I can go first if I don't want to step on any toes. I can't see anyone else if anyone else is trying to talk. So again, I'm on my phone.
Let's go for it, and then I'll go to Valerie after.
Okay. I think that I've kind of started like my path of spiritual awakening. To me, I feel like it means like just having a really good connection to like my insides, like my body, like knowing how my body is feeling and how it's working with my mind at the same time. Especially I think in quarantine, like there's just, you know, for a lot of people, it's been a roller coaster ride of like, I'm doing really well this week. And then, you know, 2 weeks later, you're like drunk every night and feeling like shit. And, you know, so it's like, you're on this ride of like, I'm taking care of myself. I'm going to be okay. And then you're like also at the same time, like hurting yourself because you can't handle the quarantine anymore. You know, like you just want to go back, or the stress of life that's happening all around you. So to me, I just feel like to be awake, like I want to, I almost want to really like separate a little bit from technology as much as I can, but it's a really hard world. It's a hard situation to separate right now. We're almost like being forced into technology. And I think, you know, really almost like we all have to sort of step back from it and away from it for a little while and just sort of like recenter and kind of ground into the earth and the world and like, you know, get positive feelings again from our world and our communities. And yeah, so I mean, I feel like I'm on my way. I think I just struggle with, you know, just the battle of what society kind of makes, what it feels like society forces us to do with their with the expectations, you know. So, you know, finding a balance, I guess, of accommodating society's norms, but also realizing that I have to take care of myself, and society's norms doesn't really serve me, you know, it doesn't make me feel good anymore. So
yeah, that's awesome. That was a really great summation. I think especially, you know, prevalent with everything that's happening right now. So I think that's spot on. Awesome. Thank you. Valerie, did you want to go next?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So what do I feel like it is, or am I there? I do. I really do. I would say probably in the July of last year, so 2019. I have 3 kids and run a very small business on the side at home, but primarily with them. And to me, it's no coincidence that one day I just took the full day. I asked my husband to take care of everyone, and I went to this physical place to take this all-day workshop on what's called Clifton Strength Finders. I don't know if you've heard of them. And so it was really kind of just like, that's not my norm to do, but I'm very open to doing those things. And I was very excited, and I knew very small bits, but I was really intrigued. And I feel like since that day, my life has made the switch into my own spiritual awakening, and I continue to take courses or do things that continue to have those building blocks. So learning my own strengths through the Clifton Strength Finders was honestly the biggest aha in my life that I had ever seen myself written on paper. And it was like, holy crap. And learning that, I then hired a strengths coach who was fantastic. So we met about 6 times over probably 5 or 6 months, and just understanding it more, understanding myself, like I just started to live more in alignment, I felt like, with who I was. And it felt, to me, that's kind of the awakening, was like just really like knowing you and living you and unapologetically, and so from that point I just started to feel not better, but more me, less dips. And so I've continued to engage in learning and exploration through, some mindfulness with Katie, with our sleep stuff. And there's a person called Erica Lane. She has the Life on Purpose movement, and I've done some courses on her about decluttering. But the decluttering isn't really even the physical stuff. It's also the mental and the emotional. What do we say to ourselves? How do we talk to ourselves? And so for me, I feel like this last year, all these building blocks have been my awakening. And I feel, honestly, I feel freaking good majority of the time. There's definitely low days. There's no doubt. Quarantine, kids, home, what does this look like? But I feel as though I've been able to handle those better than before, because I understand maybe who I am and what I need. And I more and more am asking for what I need without feeling guilty about that. And to me, just living kind of in that alignment I feel like everyone in my house, we all just feel it. And I also love it. To me, it's like just who you are and living of who you really truly are inside.
That's awesome. I love it. Perfect. Yeah. Coming into alignment with who you really are and living from that place, and continuing, like you said, to accumulate building blocks. So you learn a little bit more, and then you do a little bit different, and then settle into what feels best.
Yeah. And I've said it a few times to Katie, but I think everything is just, I've always wanted to accumulate, learn, and improve it. And I think, one small conversation from you is, the days that aren't going well, or the days whatever, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I've put less pressure on that, and like just relaxed into honoring wherever I am that day, even if it's pretty shitty, because that's life. And then like learning how to like kind of move out of that without judgment, and just with a little bit more grace. And so I think the building blocks, it's like the ebb and flow. There's no line, there's no end line. And it's just, I think I'm deeply in it right now, and there might be a period where I'm a little bit less out, depending on what life brings in the future, and just kind of keep going.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you. Would anyone like to share next? And we're going to ask you guys a couple of questions throughout, and you don't have to answer the questions if you don't feel like chatting, so there's no pressure there. So I'll just open it up. If anybody else wants to share what it means to them to wake up or to have a spiritual awakening, or if they've had one, feel free to unmute and go for it.
Okay, I'll go if anyone else doesn't want to.
Sure.
I think for me, like recently, I think it's been just like a moment by moment thing, like realizing that like there's more to what's going on in the moment. Like instead of being so caught up in like, I call it like just like human stuff and like the day-to-day busyness of life, to me it's just like realizing like there's more to this meal there's more to this conversation, there's more to this morning, there's more to this even meditation. So for me, it's just not getting caught up in my anxiety or what's going on. It's realizing like there's a bigger picture. So I feel like I have, you know, little spiritual awakenings like just throughout my day. Sometimes I just get caught up in it, and then I go to that quiet place. I try to go to that quiet place inside me, and then I feel like, you know, there's like a moment of relief. And so I feel like though I've had different bigger spiritual awakenings like throughout the last couple of years, those I feel like are the most impactful to me. It's just realizing that there's more to like all of it. And I like Rob Bell always, one of his phrases is like, everything is spiritual. And so I love coming back to that phrase, because it just brings me like right back in the moment every time, and like brings me to a higher consciousness, a higher awareness every time. So yeah.
I love that. I love it. I love everybody's different perspective on it too, because yeah, part of that waking up is realizing that everything's interconnected, and there's like, you're raising your level of consciousness and you're seeing things in a totally new way. And you can do that all the time. When we're super present in the moment, we can start to see things that we've always seen just differently. So I love that. Would anybody else like to share? Going once? Going twice? Okay, so for us and for the purposes of Mind Immersion, having the spiritual awakening and waking up really means aligning the parts of ourselves so that we can fully understand and step into the idea that we create our own reality. So part of understanding that we create our own reality is understanding the difference between the two minds and knowing that we have two minds. That we have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind, and they operate completely independently of each other. And the tools and tactics that we use to try to control our lives or create change or feel better or feel differently, if we're using conscious tools and what we're really bumping up against are subconscious obstacles, we're going to be met with frustration and resistance and upheaval. And it's going to feel like change is really shitty and hard. Because the reality is, most of the time, 95% of the time we're awake and functioning, we're operating on autopilot driven by our subconscious mind. And so we are always kind of operating under a narrative that's based on our conditioning. So between the ages of 0 and 7, or 7 to up to 14, all of our primary subconscious conditioning was put in place. And that conditioning basically is the summation and the result of emotional experiences we had as children that we formed stories about. And those stories sank into our subconscious and became our beliefs. So if we had a crappy experience where we felt humiliated, I always say in math class, I feel like I must have had a crappy experience in math class. So I always use that. But if you call up to the board and everybody's staring at you and you freeze and you don't know the problem and the answer, and the teacher says something and you feel humiliated and the class laughs, that's going to bring up a physiological reaction. Your body starts to respond. You might feel heat, your palms start to sweat, your heart races. You start thinking thoughts, making up a story about it. I hate math. I hate public speaking. I never want to do this again. All of these things come up, right? And it's the perfect storm of the physiological response, the emotional response, the story making, and then that becomes a belief system. And that's literally why later in life we might balk at the idea of having to give up and do a presentation at work. And we don't know why. We just accept that we hate public speaking, right? And it's really just a belief system. But the foundational piece of this is that we're always operating under a belief system, and it's either supportive or it's limiting. 95% of the time, we are not just present, empty-minded and open-hearted. Because if we were, we would mostly respond to everything with like a, interesting. We'd have no emotional attachment, response, anything. There'd be nothing there. But typically we always have a thought. You know, we're rarely not thinking and we're rarely not responding. And so that's just an indication that we're always operating under conditioning. And so the big piece of Mind Immersion is that we're going to teach you guys how to get your conscious thoughts in alignment with your subconscious beliefs and then attach conscious action to that. And we're also going to bring in the body part of it too. So it's mind, body, and spirit. And we're going to cover what each of those blocks looks like today. But the overarching theme here is that we're going to teach you all of the tools that are necessary for you to own creating your own reality. Because if you're always operating under a system of conditioning or under narratives that are from conditioning, we're going to teach you how to change that conditioning so that you can now operate under beliefs that are supportive versus limiting, so that you can begin to control the perception that you operate under, and the lens that you experience life through. So sounds so easy, right? Let the work begin. So that's kind of how we talk about that. And so I kind of just touched on that, but when it comes to your narrative, it's basically the lens that you see life through. And so we're really going to start focusing on what that is for you currently, kind of where that came from, and then we're going to deconstruct it. I think I always skip ahead with the notes. Like I end up talking about it naturally, and then I go to the next slide and I'm like, oh, I already said that. Okay. So block 1 is understanding the subconscious mind. And Jen is going to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like.
So my first question to you guys is, does everyone believe that they have a subconscious mind?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we understand the subconscious mind, and like Katie already kind of touched on, the subconscious has no concept of time. You're going to function probably 95% of the time with your, beliefs and stuff that have been ingrained with you your whole life, basically. So limiting beliefs, like what is that? Those are things like thoughts of I am not enough. I'm not good at math. I don't deserve to be happy. Anytime you say the word should, that's a huge limiting belief. And so in block 1, we're really going to break down the subconscious mind and explain to you all just what limiting beliefs are and find those for each one of you so we can work through, rewiring them in the future.
Yeah. And so we'll go over like each piece of that in block 1, and each block is 3 sessions long. And so the sessions are 2 hours at a time. And so that entire first block will be really talking about the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, so that it's going to become fluid for you guys. So you can start to become like observers of your own experience and start noticing, all right, I'm telling myself right now in this moment that I want blank, blank, blank to happen. And I'm having a really hard time taking a conscious action step towards that. I know what I need to do. I've read all about it. I've done all the research. I have like an understanding of how to do this. Why am I not able to do it? And that's typically a really good indicator that you have a subconscious limiting belief. So if you don't believe, if you believe that you aren't inherently worthy, if you've had a circumstance in your life where you thought like, I'm not good enough, like this, I'm not good enough for this, that can drive a ton of behavior. And it basically just puts roadblocks in the way of us getting to where we want to go. And again, consciously, we're not aware of what those are until we really start diving into it. And the coolest part about it, and we'll wrap up with this at the end, is that we're going to use a tool called Site K in our last block. That's a way of rewiring limiting subconscious beliefs through muscle testing. It's a really amazing process, and it works with whole brain states so that we can get both hemispheres of your brain on board, which basically creates a direct line to your subconscious. So throughout the process, and especially in block 1, we're going to talk to you more about what Site K is and how we're going to be using that. And then we'll use it in the last block once we've gotten your mind, your body, and your spirit in alignment there. And so the second block is all about connecting with your body. So often I think people who do kind of body work, you can do yoga and things like that to connect with the body, but the body keeps score. So like, for instance, when you have that experience in math class and you had that physiological reaction, if you just stuffed that down and didn't process it and didn't release it in any way, it gets stored in your body, in your tissue. I had a teacher once always tell me the issue was in the tissue, because we would be doing like really intense postures or working out, and I would end up, if I was having a rough day and she pushed me in a physical posture, I would cry. And I would be like, what is happening here? I would get frustrated, and like, she's like, the issue's in the tissue. But our body stores emotion for us. And it's supposed to, in some ways, it's supposed to kind of be a buffer and absorb some of the stress that we have, but it's not meant to do that indefinitely, and it needs to be cleared out. So often, if we don't know how to do that from a young age, our body has kept track and is storing a ton of unprocessed stuff. Unless we mindfully go in and really clear it out, it just stays with us. It just stays stuck in there until something brings it up or it's sparked one day. And so connecting with our body also is really about anytime we've ever felt shame in our bodies, anytime we have negative self-talk, anytime we feel like, even, and this can go back to like addiction and substance abuse, but anytime our body craves something or it responds to something and we feel like it's betrayed us or it's not doing what it's supposed to do, we tend to be, if we're not mindful at some points in our lives, very mentally abusive to our body. And the moment that we think anything sort of negative in that way, we disconnect from it. And this is really, really evident when we are feeling emotions we don't want to feel. So when we feel annoyed by the emotion, why am I feeling that way? I shouldn't feel that. Oh my God, like I'm so annoyed that I'm feeling whatever. You immediately, when you do that, you disconnect from your body. When you're not able to accept your current emotional state and connect with it, and instead are like irritated by it or trying to talk yourself out of feeling that way, you immediately disconnect. And so over time, many of us have continually practiced disconnection from the body over and over and over and over. And it's super, super important to become fully reconnected and integrated with your body and release all of the trauma, emotional trauma. And emotional trauma can be something external, but it can also be the way that we treat ourselves. So anytime we're telling our body, like, why are you feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way? No, I'm not doing this. Like, that's trauma to the body. And that disconnect continues over time and can often make it really difficult. The body is a huge part of it. It's mind, body, and spirit, right? So if they're not all three on board, it just makes it difficult. And so in block 2, we're really going to explore that. And we're going to have you guys get reconnected with your bodies. We're going to have lots of cool exercises in real time to help you do that. And really kind of rebond and reestablish that connection, because it's really, really important. And we can't grow forward and do the work if we're really disconnected from our bodies. And of course, we'll also be touching on any other kind of emotional trauma or body trauma too. So we're really going to be working through, again, we have 3 sessions, processing and releasing anything that might have happened to us or that we've done to ourselves that we need to create resolution with. Something really cool too in each block is that there's going to be a 30-minute SRI breathwork session that's going to be taught by our favorite kind of I'm going to butcher that word, holistic chiropractor, Dr. Sharina. And she's going to come on to do 3 stages of somatic respiratory integration breath work during each block. This is really, really good for helping you reconnect with your body. So the 3 stages that we'll do in block 2 are going to be really helpful in kind of catalyzing that as well. And it'll give you a good taste of what that's like. Does anybody have any questions so far? Cool. All right. And then at the bottom on this block too, it says dis-ease and dis-ease are often side effects of disconnection from our body. So when we have been continually disconnected from our body, dis-ease, so stress in the body, anxiety, mild depression, headaches, backaches, physical tension, those kinds of issues we consider discomfort, dis-ease. And then if we don't fully acknowledge that, it can often manifest as disease, actual illness in the body. Okay, block 3. And so in this part, we're gonna be doing the spirit work, embracing your spirit. So we're gonna kind of get you guys a great understanding of the subconscious and conscious mind so that when you're going through the next blocks, you're gonna be able to observe more of your behavior instead of maybe getting lost in it or feeling like, what is happening to me? So after we do all the body connection, we're gonna get into the spirit side, which is shadow work. So a lot of healing work or light work is about focusing on the light, right? It's about connecting with our true selves and following that, and that feels good and it lights up the path. The other side of that is our shadow side. And so that side is a side people typically don't run towards exploring because it can be obviously darker and might cause some discomfort. So the more we understand how the mind works, I think the easier it is to ease into exploring our shadows. because it doesn't feel so detrimental or perhaps defensive, because we're really going to be looking at the idea if we create our own reality and we're engaged in situations or dynamics of people and they're frustrating us constantly and we're pointing the finger at them, we're really going to start to understand that we are participating in and at least 50% responsible for this dynamic. And often what we're pointing the finger at them for, we ourselves also do. It's usually an unhealed part of us that we have not accepted. So our shadows are really all the sides of ourselves that we tend to dislike in other people, and are just things about us that we have to fully love and accept. So we're really going to dive into projection and reflection in this block and really get you guys understanding what that looks like, taking accountability for it, healing, accepting it. And then we'll talk about releasing anger, blame, and codependency. So often shadow sides that have not been healed or looked at can lead us to codependent characteristics and traits. And I think Jen has some examples of some of those limiting beliefs that are associated with this shadow side.
Yeah, so some examples would be, I need this person to be happy. I shouldn't feel this way. I can't live without them. You're constantly comparing, judging, feeling shame in this state. So this is where, Psych K has done wonders for me. So this is like really exciting block to kind of really dive into. And
yeah. And so it's a lot of those kind of lower vibrational emotions. So shame, guilt, blame, anger, judgment, that like are part of the human experience. So we all end up feeling those things and engaging with them and often try to push them away. So like judgment is a completely normal human response, right? But judgment is usually a release from shame. So what we're really looking for in moments when we're judging other people is to release our own shame about something. And so when we have those limiting beliefs of like, well, I should be here, I should be doing this, or like, I need this to happen to feel good. Like this thing has to occur, or I can't lose that person, or I'll never be okay again, or whatever it is. Those are some examples of what limiting beliefs might look like around this. And then anger is kind of its own thing. And we're going to talk a lot more about learning how to embrace anger and learning how to embrace emotions that might not like consistently be acceptable, or that we might not have been taught were acceptable as children. So this is block 3. After the first 2 blocks, you'll be, I would say, foundationally prepared to dive into your shadows and do it in a really safe way that's going to allow you to process and move through them. All right. And then block 4, in our last block, it's going to be taking all of those things and culminating them into helping you guys manifest your life. So you create your own reality. You're responsible for manifesting your life. At this point, you're going to have aligned your mind, your body, and your spirit. Your conscious intentions and desires are going to be supported by your subconscious belief systems, and they're going to be supported by your body that's clear and ready to work with you. So at that point, we're going to teach you kind of all the tricks and secrets to manifesting. And that's when we're going to really start using the process of Psych K to help getting all of that in alignment. And so this is kind of the exciting state, so that we're no longer tying our emotional state to external circumstances. We've taken accountability for it, and we're ready to start internally creating the life that we desire. Yeah. So for our last little tidbit for you guys, Jen is going to walk you through a little exercise.
So I just invite everyone right now to just close their eyes and just kind of sit back in your chair and take a couple deep breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhaling it out through the mouth. And just take a couple rounds of breath on your own. And then I want you to ask yourself, is this the reality I want to be living right now? Just really kind of sit with it, be present with your life today. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if anyone wants to share anything, maybe, you know, this isn't the reality they want, Mind Immersion is going to be perfect for us to help you transform.
Yeah, did that bring up anything for anybody? The idea is to be able to just sit in the present and like assess where you're at and how you feel, and notice if anything feels outside of the way that you would ideally want it to. And if it does, then it's just an invitation to step into a new way of being and to kind of take charge of, all right, I'm ready to figure out how to design this so that, like Valerie said earlier, even when you're having a crappy day, you really know how to just let it flow through you, shift your vibration, and stay in that place, and it can become really natural.
For me, yeah, so when you asked, is this where you want to be? I gave it a percentage of, overall, I feel like I'm a lot where I want to be, but we'll say 70%, that was what came to my mind. But I believe so strongly in the continuation of learning and the building blocks that there's sometimes places to grow you don't even know you are able or need to grow. And so, yeah, like I feel very open in this state of life to continue. I don't think I'll ever fully be 100%. And so I'm open to, like, yeah, why not learn something else and take more tools and learn more about myself now.
Love it. Yeah.
I love that.
I like that you had a percentage come to your head too.
Yeah.
Like 70%.
70%, yeah. But I'm like, it's not 100, and there's always room for growth with everything.
That's great. Did anything else come up for anybody?
I think for me, like kind of like going through each of those blocks and seeing, I was able to identify something in each area, where like, I know there's things that need to be worked on or like room for improvement in certain things. So, yeah, I mean, similar, I feel like I'm on the right path, but I know that I have limiting beliefs, and I know that I have things that are like in me that are keeping me from, I think, even just developing like what I want my life to look like. I think for me, like I live in such I try to live in the present, but I'm also like in survival mode almost every day of my life. So it's like, it's hard for me to picture what I want my life to be like. And I think I know I want what I want, but I don't know if I really do. And I don't know if it's really what I need, So I think for me, like it brought up the idea that like my reality right now, it's okay. It's all right. I'm surviving and I'm doing some good things to survive, to make it easier with tools. But I think there's so much room for growth and, finding even a better, more mindful, peaceful state what I'd like to get to. So
yeah, for sure. And I like that you brought up the survival part, because often like so many of us get caught up in that. And so when we're in survival mode, we're in a state physiologically of fight or flight. And when that happens, we're losing blood flow to the part of our brain that's responsible for being able to connect with what we want, to the creativity, to make new habits, to see things in a new way. And so it's like when you're in that state, if you're trying to induce change from a state of fight or flight, you're not going to be able to connect with it. And then we can get frustrated and be like, why is this so hard for me? Or why can't I just figure it out? It's like, you don't have the blood flow you need, and that's okay. Like that's the first step, is like, let's get your blood flow back and then connect with it. Cause I think you nailed it. You're like, I don't even know if that's what I want or need, because I'm in that fight or flight mode. And that's totally normal. And I love that, because the first step, I think, for most people, and the fight or flight mode and survival mode can also be termed as like chronic anxiety. So people who say, I have anxiety, I'm anxious all the time, same thing. You're in fight or flight physiologically. Survival mode, you don't have the blood flow you need. So that's like always kind of the first step that we take, is helping you guys get some tools, and then following up with like that homework in between to make sure that we're getting your nervous system really grounded so that you're able to connect. So yeah, I thought that was great insight, Liz. All right.
Can I add one more thing to that? Because
Sure.
I love what you shared, Liz, and I think too, as I've been able to become more grounded and stuff, what I found that I'm really loving is just the fact that I don't even know what my future holds. I'm not even, like, I'm so positive and confident that something great is yet on my doorstep, but I don't know what it is. And I've learned to just be 100% very happy and content in that unknown. And I think, I mean, again, the building blocks, you just never know where it'll take you. And so I'm like, when you think about your future, feeling pretty, even if you feel pretty good where you're at, it doesn't mean I know or have this end thing. It's like, I'm open to whatever the end thing will be, and I believe it'll be great. I just don't even know what that is yet.
Yeah. And I love that perspective too. And we'll learn in manifesting that some of us are designed to have a more broad-based vision when we're manifesting, and some of us need a more specific, like very directed vision. And so we'll cover that too for the different human design types, which ones are more likely to need that broad base where it's like, I know something good is coming. I'm heading in that direction. I know how to follow the cues. It hasn't been designed perfectly, and other people's design types really do need specifics. Like, this is what it's going to feel like. This is what it's going to do it. And so we'll cover those too. So thanks for adding that. Great. All right. So our next slide is going to talk to you guys kind of about the next steps for Mind Immersion. And then after, Jen and I are going to do a quick, like 10-minute little guided self-care routine to show you guys kind of an example of what you could use each day to kind of create balance and to connect with yourself. But we wanted to go over the next steps first. So like we covered earlier, it's going to be a Sundays. So 3 Sundays each month from 10 a.m. to noon. Every session will be recorded as well, just for the attendees. Block 1 begins on Sunday, October 25th. Some special bonuses for attending today. There's an early bird 10% discount for webinar attendees. And it's always great to bring a friend. So coming to classes with somebody to have that kind of support system and go through the process is great. So there's a 15% discount for bringing a friend. I'm going to post in the chat box now links for all of these tickets along with your discount codes. If you guys want to save those, we'll also be emailing out the recording today with those links as well. Yeah, and so we're really excited about it, and we would love for you guys to attend. You can attend blocks separately. So if you're just like, I want to connect with my body and I don't want to learn about the rest of it, or I feel like I have a good grasp, you can do that as well. And we would invite you to do the entire series so that you have each block to build upon and can really dive into all of those areas. But it's up to you. So that offers on the table as well. Does anybody have any questions? Awesome. Valerie, do you have a question?
Yeah, can you tell I was reading? I was like, 3 Sundays.
You're like,
yeah. So like each month, you'll have essentially a Sunday off.
Yeah, and so we're going to send you in the email too what the actual specific dates are going to be. Because like block 1, it'll be a back-to-back Sunday, a skip week, and then another Sunday. And then in addition, you'll be part of a private Facebook group. So part of the entire series is learning self-care tools and techniques too, to help you learn how to self-soothe as you mind immersion. So you're going to be going through some things will be coming up. So we're going to give you that homework and that support. You're also going to get a like build it yourself self-care box that'll be in the form of like a notebook. So you're going to get a workbook. So we're going to have usable worksheets for every class in addition to the handout. And so the idea is if you purchase a binder, since we're doing it virtually, by the end, you're going to have probably 40 plus pages of content with worksheets for each block. So that you could always go back through the entire course if you just feel like I need a reset, and you'll be able to do that with all of the handouts, recordings, and worksheets. So yeah, the Facebook group is going to be important because we really want you guys to be able, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, to check in with us and really use the self-care tools so that you come out of it and this new transformed version of yourself, and you know how to stay up to date with it. You know what to do each day to keep yourself functioning in that place. So that part will be important.
And this is the ego mind likely. So the end, so it's about 3 months. So the end's like right around January.
So we're going to do the first 2 blocks. The first block will be October to like mid-November. And then we're going to do the second block in December before Christmas. And then blocks 3 and 4 will be in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. So we spread them out a little bit, avoided hitting holidays, and kind of gave you a little bit of time in between. So we'll have enough time to make sure that it's really sticking.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to email you guys all those details today. And then right now, we're going to do, for anybody who wants to stick around, just kind of an example of what a brief 10-minute self-care routine would look like for us that you guys can do anytime you feel like you need that. You can repeat it each day, and it's kind of the mind, body, spirit element of it. So the idea when you wake up in the morning, if you do it in the morning or any time in the day, is to ask yourself how you're feeling. So be able to kind of sit, and we can do that now, and just scan your body and ask yourself, what do I need today to live my best day and feel like my best self? And it could be a feeling. It could be like, I need some peace. I need some clarity. I need some relaxation. I need some movement. I need energy. And or what would I like to see, feel, and experience today? Maybe you are up for being unexpectedly delighted. Today, my intention is to be unexpectedly delighted. I would like to feel joyful. Laughter is my intention. But start asking yourself what it is you would like to see, feel, or experience to have your best day. And you're just going to set that intention. And I'll give you guys a few more seconds to do that. And then we're going to go into the actual self-care routine so that everything we do moving forward in the routine is really based on that and rooted in that intention. Okay, and you can go ahead and open your eyes once you've set your intention. And then we're going to start by doing a little bit of breath work. That's going to begin by building energy, and then we're going to settle it down. So I like doing this in the morning because it's going to give you guys an example of how to build that energy up, especially if you've been sleeping and our energy settled down. And then we'll slow it down to kind of root into our bodies. So it's a good way to like wake up in the morning and then calm down. So the first breathwork exercise, and we're going to do it for 1 minute. So I just set a timer and would invite you guys to do that if you're doing it on your own. And it's called a Sat Nam twist. And I'm just going to demonstrate what it looks like. But you're going to put your hands here on your shoulders, and you're going to do a sharp twist to the left as you inhale through the nose. And then you're going to do a sharp twist to the right as you exhale through the nose. That's what it's going to look like. And as you twist to the left on the inhale, you're going to think inside your head, Sat. And then you're going to think Nam as you turn to the right. Sat, Nam. Sat, Nam. So just practice it for a second before I do the timer. But you're going to twist, you're inhaling and exhaling both through the nose. Twisting to the left with the inhale of Sat, and to the right with Nam. And just feel that out for a second so you can start to kind of get the idea of what it's going to feel like. And you're really building energy up through the mind when you do that. And so basically what Sat Nam means is truth. I am truth. So this mantra can kind of connect you to that idea as you breathe into it. So now that everybody kind of has the rhythm, we're going to do it for 1 minute. And it doesn't seem like a long time, but try to stick with it, with that breath, like inhaling deeply and sharply, and then exhaling the same way. And imagine that energy traveling up from your root, really opening up your systems. All right, so 1 minute, here we go. And release. And so that make you feel a little heady. Your head might be a little woo, and it's really stirring up a bunch of energy. And so I love the way that feels. And so we're gonna go right into grounding our energy now. So feel free to put your palms face down on your lap, sitting up nice and tall and closing the eyes. We're gonna do a few rounds of a full body breath. So inhaling really slowly through the nose for a count of 4, filling all the way up, feeling your energy start to settle down. And then exhaling nice and slow for a count of 5. Allowing your energy to ground down. Do another breath just like that. So inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. And then exhaling 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 2 more just like that. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And last time, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you can release that breath and just notice how you feel, how your body feels. And that's a quick way. The Satnam breath is a quick way to wake you up and shake you up. And then that full body breath following it, I really like because it helps ground you down, but your energy's still woken up. So from there, we're just going to go in. Jen's going to guide you through some basic seated yoga postures so that you can add those in. So we're doing kind of the mind, body, spirit. And so this part's body.
So with your eyes closed, just take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, allow the chin to come to your chest. And just take a couple breaths here and notice any tension in the body, any tension in the neck. And just send your breath to that space. And then on your next inhale, roll that right ear over to your right shoulder. And same here, just pause, notice any tension. Take a couple of breaths here. And then the next inhale, let the chin come to chest and pass through, and left shoulder goes, or the left ear goes to the left shoulder. Just breathe into that tension and just release. And allow that chin to come back to the chest. And if it feels good, just take a couple half circle movements on your own and moving with your breath. So you want to inhale over to the ear, exhale through chest. Connecting body and breath is a form of meditation. And the next time the chin comes to chest, bring chin parallel up to the floor, and you can allow your eyes to open here. We're just going to take a big inhale in and bring your hands up over your head, biceps are by your ears, and drop that right arm down. And then carefully just take a little stretch over. And then that inhale, bring the right arm back up and drop the left arm. Just a little stretch here. And then release the arms down by the side, and maybe you take that left hand over to your right knee and just take a gentle twist. Remembering to keep with that breath and the inhales and the exhales. Just notice the tension in the body. And try to release it with the breath. You can send it to that space. And then we'll twist over to the other side. And then pass through center. So those are some things that I'll just do. It's quick, minute to 2 minutes of just kind of getting some movement in the neck and in the shoulders, your side body, and just kind of, especially if you're sitting at a desk all day and stuff, it will really help just kind of get the blood flowing. And it can be nice and gentle and nothing crazy. Do it seated.
My favorite. Awesome. And so then we're just going to end with a brief meditation that's going to focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. So go ahead and close the eyes again. You can have your palms face down if you want to ground yourself, or face up if you would like to receive energy. And as you close the eyes, we're going to hold that intention and imagine the intention is like sitting and glowing in between your eyebrows and your third eye. Just sitting there, focusing on that with the eyes closed. And then we're going to invite in some clearing energy so that we can focus on and live from that intention today. So imagine that a golden white light is coming down through the crown of your head. And it's stopping right at that third eye between your eyebrows, lighting up that intention. And then imagine the light dropping down into your throat, clearing out any tension that might exist in this area. And then the light moves farther down into your heart space, begins to open it up. So breathe expansively into that heart space and allow that golden white light to begin opening that area. And as you inhale, run that golden light back up through the heart, into your throat, up past your third eye, up through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, drop it right back down. Let it flow back through the crown, through your third eye, throat, into your heart. Take 2 more breath patterns just like that, sending that golden white light up on the inhale, clearing out the heart, the throat, third eye, and your crown, and dropping it back down through all of those areas. You're just running that golden white light energy through all of those areas so that you can be heart-centered today on your intention. Do that one more time. Sending it up and then dropping it back down. And your next exhale, you can pause. We'll go back up to the crown of the head and ask your higher self and your spirit guides to be with you today and to be able to choose messages that are in alignment with your intention. And then let that energy come down to your third eye so that these messages can be infused with wisdom, all of your intuitive wisdom. And let it come down to your throat so that these intuitive, wise messages can be paired with just the right words so that you can communicate them effectively. And let it drop down into your heart space so that when you're ready to share, you're communicating through the heart and sharing intuitive, wise words with the world and anyone you come in contact with. So breathe through that one more time, imagining those divine messages dropping down through you, connecting with your intuition, being paired with the right words in your throat, coming out through your heart to be sent out to the world. Take a second to give gratitude for this day that you've never experienced before, and ask that all of your thoughts, words, and actions be in alignment with your highest self. And let them be shown and known to the world through your heartfelt connection. And then take one last deep breath, sealing that intention for the day, feeling grounded and connected, and ready to share that space with the world, whoever you come in contact with. And then you can release it as you're ready. And that's kind of just a quick 10-minute self-care routine that you can do any time of day or in the morning or in the evening. And it just helps, again, wake up the body and then bring it down, set an intention, get a little bit of movement to release any physical tension, and then seal it with a meditation that's focused on what you would like to see, feel, and experience through the day. And then just notice throughout the day-to-day when you see things that are in alignment with that intention you set, and allow yourself to feel, oh, universe is winking at you. How's everybody feel?
Really good.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
great.
Good. All right, guys. Well, we'll release you unless you have any other questions, and we'll email you the recording and some information, and let us know if you have any questions that come up after today. Yeah, we'd love to see you.
Thank you.
Katie, I have a, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah. I was just going to say, what were the words again for this so I can remember?
Sat Nam. Sat Nam.
Nam.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was looking on your Facebook thing about like the other packages too, like the other things you're doing. So that's separate, right? Like the fireside chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm really interested in going to that chiropractor place that Meredith's been going to.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was thinking maybe I would sign up for your like 4-week, for like a month, whatever, like try out like the fireside chat thing. Yeah. And see, because I might do that for myself, go get the like first round of test, whatever.
Yeah. So with Fireside Chat or any of the membership, you get your first visit there at IWC. And Dr. Sharina is the one who will also be guiding the SRI breathwork in our Mind Immersion series too.
Okay. So if I did that, then this session, this whole package thing wouldn't start until October anyway.
Yeah, the end of October. Yeah.
Okay.
Try it out. So all you have to do, you can email me or just on the link, just click the one that you'd like to sign up for. And then I'll send you the information, the login info and all that stuff.
Okay. How many people do you have about like on average, like how many people are coming to those like, coffee talks?
Coffee talks have like pretty much the same group. We have about 7 that come every week. And then Fireside, we get new faces in. So I would say we have usually about like 6 to 7. And then some people that are there every week, and then we get new. But I would say on average 6 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'll see you soon.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, guys. Let us know if you have
anything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.